Friends, let me share a story with you. It's a story about the power of faith. It's a story about finding hope in the darkest of times. And most importantly, it's a story about God's infinite love. Life can be hard. We all face moments of doubt, fear, and despair. But I firmly believe that even in the midst of our struggles, God is always present. He is near to the brokenhearted, ready to lift us up and carry us forward. My own journey has been marked by both joy and sorrow. I have experienced times of great blessing, but I have also walked through valleys of deep shadow. And it was in one of those valleys that I truly came to understand the transformative power of faith. I remember it as if it were yesterday. A time of deep uncertainty and fear gripped my heart. My world seemed to be falling apart around me. It felt like an impossible weight on my shoulders. Days turned into nights, and the weight only seemed to grow heavier. Doubt crept in, whispering that things might never get better. Sleep became a distant memory, replaced by restless nights filled with worry and anxiety. I felt lost and alone. The pain was almost unbearable. I didn't know where to turn or who to talk to. Everything seemed hopeless, and I found myself sinking deeper into despair. One night, as I sat alone with my thoughts, a glimmer of hope pierced through the darkness. I remembered the words my grandmother used to say, "When you feel like giving up, remember why you held on for so long in the first place." Her words resonated deeply within me. I realized that I couldn't give up. I had to keep fighting, not just for myself, but for my loved ones. But where could I find the strength to go on? It was then that I turned to my faith. I had always believed in God, but in that moment of desperation, I clung to Him like never before. I poured out my heart to Him in prayer, confessing my fears and uncertainties. As I prayed, a sense of peace washed over me. I opened my Bible and my eyes fell upon a verse that would change my life. Jeremiah 29:11. "For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." These words were like a balm to my wounded soul. They reminded me that even in the midst of my pain, God had a plan for me. He hadn't forgotten about me. He was with me every step of the way. I clung to this verse like a lifeline. I wrote it down and put it everywhere I could see it, on my mirror, in my car, even on my refrigerator. I wanted to be constantly reminded of God's promises and His unwavering love for me. From that moment on, I made prayer a priority in my life. Every morning, I would wake up and surrender my worries and fears to God, asking for His guidance and strength. And you know what? He answered. He didn't magically make all my problems disappear, but He gave me the strength to face each day with renewed hope. He brought people into my life who offered comfort and support, and He guided my steps as I navigated through the darkness. Through prayer, I found a level of peace I had never known before. It became my lifeline, my constant connection to the source of all comfort and strength. It was in those moments of quiet communion with God that I truly experienced His transformative power. Slowly but surely, things began to change. The impossible weight I had been carrying began to lift. The darkness that had surrounded me started to dissipate, replaced by rays of hope. It wasn't an overnight miracle, but a gradual unfolding of God's perfect plan. I realized that God had used that difficult time to draw me closer to Him, to teach me to rely on His strength instead of my own. He had taken my pain and used it to mold me into a stronger, more resilient person. My friends, if you are going through a difficult time, please know that you are not alone. God sees your pain, He hears your cries, and He cares deeply for you. Don't lose hope. Turn to Him in prayer, immerse yourselves in His Word, and trust that He has a plan for your lives, a plan filled with hope and a future. He is faithful, and He will never leave you nor forsake you. Remember, even in the darkest of nights, the sun will rise again. And when it does, you will emerge from the shadows stronger, wiser, and more deeply rooted in His love.